at itv.com, and we'll be answering as many as we can later in the show. But before all that, my first guest is the epitome of Hollywood glamour. In a glittering career that spanned 6 decades, she starred in more than 65 feature films, won a Golden Globe, and who could forget her iconic role as super bitch Alexis Carrington in Dynasty.
For God's sake, Alexis, I may not be around much longer. And if I'm not, and Blake goes to prison, what'll happen to Christina?
Oh, I'd never let anything happen to your little girl. If worse came to worse, I'd take care of her myself.
What?
You know how much I adore children.
Alexis, you are the last person I'd want Christina to be with.
Well, I can understand that.
Please give a warm 80 welcome to Joan Collins. I'm very well. How lovely to see you.
How lovely to see you too.
I first interviewed you about 2 years ago, and you've not changed a jot.
Oh, thank you, darling. It's lots of makeup.
Bless your heart.
It's great to see you.
Well, lots of makeup here as well, actually. Joan Collins, it's self-evident, the title of this, really, because you must have passion for life.
I do. That's why I thought a lot about writing, because it's my 3rd autobiography, and I call it more of a photographic memoir, because I have so many pictures in it, and so many pictures of my family that I found, this whole cache of old pictures of my grandmother dressed in sort of lace-up boots and feathers, and she's entertaining the troops during the Boer War, and my... Yeah, well, she did, yes. She stage at some point and said, well, you know, if anybody knows the history, she said mafficking has been relieved. Yes, so she did. Yeah, that's how long ago that was. Yeah. It was at 1906, I think, or something, because my father was born then, and then all my family were in show business, and I have these pictures of my aunts, and some of which are quite racy. My Aunt Pauline was a showgirl, and she used to often be semi-naked on the stage. Yes, and there's pictures of that.
So you actually caught it from your Auntie Pauline?
Yes, really? I did. I said, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
There's bits on family, a good bit on family, as you say, lots on friends. Bits on royalty. I learnt from this book that the Queen Mother was a fan of Dynasty.
I know. Isn't that wonderful? I was attending a premiere in London in between shows, and she was introduced, or I was introduced to her. I've never seen so many diamonds. I mean, I could hardly see. And the tiara and the earring, bracelets and the pins and the necklace, everything. And she said, what are you doing here, dear? And I said, well, I'm here. I'm on holiday from Dynasty. And she said, oh. And I said, oh, do you watch it? She said, oh, yes, we watch it. And I said, do you hate me? She said, oh, no, my dear, we love you, which I thought was wonderful.
Kind and
yes,
diplomatic.
And I've always liked her very much, I think.
What comes over in this book is there's hardly any Hollywood megastar that you haven't known, worked with, met. I mean, the Elizabeth Taylor stories I found particularly heartening, because one's always a bit scared of Elizabeth Taylor. And you give the impression that she was actually one of the girls.
She was. I did she did her last movie with me and Shirley MacLaine and Debbie Reynolds. She was quite frail then. And, in fact, I was standing, you know, she loves jewellery, and she was a little bit of a kleptomaniac. But she would always be very charming about it. She said, I love those cufflinks. I love them so much. Richard would love them. Can I have those cufflinks? And the person would always give her everything, because she was such I don't know, she was such an iconic star. So I'm standing outside stage 3. We're about to go in and rehearse a scene, and I'm wearing these bracelets, which I wear all the time. And I know that she had just had some earrings from a friend of mine, Donatella Versace. She had borrowed them and then said, thank you so much for the earrings, and even though they were borrowed. And so she said, I love those bracelets, are they real? And I said, yes. She said, let me try them on. I said, no, Elizabeth. I said, I've got to go on the set. You come.
Get off.
Yes.
Who of the people that you've worked with, Joan, have you most admired in terms of their stagecraft, you know?
Oh, well, of course, there were several, but I think I really loved Nigel Hawthorne, Sir Nigel Hawthorne. Not only was he a great friend, but I was in a movie with him called Oh, what was it called? Something about a wedding. Wedding, marriage, clandestine marriage.
Yes.
And I played an old bag, which was nice, and he played an even stranger bag with sort of a red wig and a very strange clothes. But he was the most charming man and a wonderful actor. But the other one, the Hollywood one, of course, was Paul Newman.
Yeah, oh, gosh, you'll have the ladies drooling. Were the eyes as blue as they appeared to have been in the pictures?
Bluer.
Bluer.
Yes. And the last time I saw him, which was about a year before he died in New York, we were at some gala event, and I said, "How are you?" And he said, "Still got a pulse."
When you're working opposite someone like that, it must raise your game as well. I mean, make you want to be better than you are.
Absolutely, yes. You know, if you work with actors who are maybe not as experienced or not as good, you kind of become a little bit lazy. But I've worked with some wonderful people. I mean, I've worked with Bob Hope, Bing Crosby, Betty Davis, Richard Burton, Gene Kelly. I mean, and all in Passion for Life, I have anecdotes about and stories and photographs about all of them.
It's unputdownable. I can tell you, I was nearly late coming down. But I have one final question. 5 husbands.
Yes.
What has the 5th one got that the other 4 didn't have?
I'm not going to tell you. We were great friends before we got into the second stage of a relationship.
Yeah.
We were mates, we hung out together, we were working together, and we went around America together on tour, and I think that was very important. Not only that, he's a wonderful man.
Marry your best friend, that's the answer. Joan's book, Passion for Life, out now, and it is, I tell you, unputdownable. Oh. I'm going straight back. My thanks to Joan Collins.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you. Come from scary skeletons to wicked witches with the best value kids' Halloween costumes on the market, and it's regarded by many as the greatest documentary series of all time. We discover the story behind The World at War from the man who made it, Sir Jeremy Isaacs. We'll be back in a tick.